So I've been rocking the M2 14-inch MacBook Pro base model for a year or two now. Apple just released this beast of a new MacBook Air and lowered the price $100 from what it's been the past couple years. And so something that I want to do today is just give my first impressions. I've never owned the updated version of the MacBook Air, so I want to give my first impressions there, compare it, I guess, in design and build and everything, in color and all that, to my MacBook Pro here. And then in a week or two, I'm going to come back to you all with a new video, so subscribe if you haven't yet, and share if I think the new M4 MacBook Air from 2025 can replace my M2 MacBook Pro. I'm very serious about this. I'm actually considering replacing it just because of the workload that I do myself personally, which I'll share more in that video in next week. But for today's purposes, we're going to just compare and give my first impressions of the brand new 2025 M4 MacBook Air. So here's the packaging. I always love a good Apple unboxing experience. Interesting they went with the side profile, I guess, to show how thin it is. That used to be the big thing, right? I'm also interested weight-wise. I know half a pound or less or 0.1 pounds isn't a huge difference when you really think about it, but when you're putting a bunch of stuff in your book bag each day, that can really add up over time. So cutting back on the weight of probably the heaviest thing that I keep in my everyday carry backpack is going to be noticeable. I'm really excited. So I actually went with the dark color, which I remember when they first came out with this updated model was more blue-ish, and I don't know how I feel about that. The cord here seems pretty gray. I'm interested to see if the color is... It'd be nice if they gave a color-coded power brick, but I understand why they don't do that. I'm gonna move that stuff aside. What all comes in here? Nowadays, there's like barely even any paperwork, which is funny. Their quick start guides are like, yeah, like two pages here. But yeah, I'm interested to see this blue color, if it has changed at all, and you might already know the answer to that if you're watching, but I don't. Put the box over there. Here it is. It feels like an iPad, to be honest. I can definitely tell a difference in thickness already. Okay, yeah, so it is that kind of dark blue color. The brand new light blue color is something I considered getting because it is the new hotness, but I figured if I'm actually gonna keep this for my own uses, I wanted to get a color that I would prefer. And that is actually way bluer than I thought it was gonna be, which is wild. I don't hate it. I think something interesting as like a content creator you think about that maybe the average Joe doesn't think about, or maybe they do, is how will it look with the rest of my products in my like desk setup and stuff that we're having to film all the time. So having a pop of color, this might be that pop of color that works well, but honestly, I'm like really impressed with how this looks. So here it is next to my M2 MacBook Pro from the top, so you can see it's a little bit smaller here. We've got a 13 point something inch compared to the MacBook Pro, which is the 14-inch. It's wild, honestly, how thin both of these are, but you can see there the thinness and the difference in thinness. Wow, that's actually way more noticeable than I thought it would be. You notice on the bottom here, it doesn't say MacBook Air like the MacBook Pro does. Very similar design though, in terms of the clamshell design. I think these corners on the new MacBook Air are a slight bit more rounded. I think you could probably see that in the overhead camera right now. I've noticed Apple, even with like their phones, are going a little bit more like of a rounded approach on their corners. And honestly, I really like that. It's super, super subtle, but I think that's actually a thing happening. Yeah, it totally is. So that's fantastic. Wow, I just can't get over how thin this is. It's crazy. So in terms of the ports that I'm losing here, if I make the switch, two USB-C ports on this side, and that's it. And then the headphone jack here, as opposed to on the M2 Pro, you have the two here with headphone jack, and then also HDMI, which I don't use a ton. The SD card reader, some of these things would bother me, but I've been using a dock more than anything at my desk setup, one from Ivanki. which I'll leave a link to down in the description. It's fantastic. It basically takes anything this can do and just beefs it up. It's pretty cool. But I don't actually use the SD card reader on the actual MacBook that often, and if I ever needed to, I have one of the USB-C to SD card dongles, I guess they're called. So that's taken care of, but we'll get into more of that in next week's video. Let's just open this thing up and start to compare the inside here. They brought back that MacBook sound, which I love. I love that they did that. I hate that they took it away for a while there. So let's open up and compare. I don't know how I feel about this blue color, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a nice blue color, don't get me wrong, but... And also, I don't know if you can see that. These are different colors, which is interesting. It's the same case here, but... All right, so let's look at the differences here. Of course, no speakers. You do get your Touch ID. Everybody's been talking about the volume mute switch here. Actually now has a line through it, so it's not confusing. In terms of the keyboard, the layout's all the same. The trackpad actually looks like it's the same size, if not a little bit bigger, question mark. So there's that. You do have a little bit bigger bezels going on here. I don't know if you can see that above. It's actually not as profound as I thought it would be, the difference in bezel size. I don't know if you can see that or not. We'll maybe zoom in there. But I think more than anything, just the weight and capability, which we'll get into in next week's video, just with the M4 chip. It's going to be leaps and bounds better. I don't know how I feel about the color. To be honest, I might trade this in for the silver model potentially after I give it a good week of testing. But overall form factor, I'm very excited about. Just excited to have a lighter device. Of course, the screen's a little bit smaller, but again, I'm plugging into external monitors, and now I'm pretty sure with the Air, I learned you can connect multiple monitors to it. First impressions, I'm excited. I think the size is great. It's great to go to a slimmer form factor. I'm gonna get this set up and start using it. And again, please consider subscribing. On this channel, we talk about tech that marries form and function. We like tech that improves our lives and also looks good while doing it. Apple always fits the bill there, in my opinion. But again, next week I'm gonna come back and let you know if I think this can fully replace my MacBook Pro. I might consider getting the new Mac Mini, maybe beefing that one up a little bit more spec-wise, just so it can handle more of the video production stuff that I sometimes have to do here on the channel. So anyway, that's gonna do it. If you have any questions for next week's video, I think it's gonna be next week, it might be 2 weeks. I'm gonna shoot for next week. Let me know in the comments down below and I'll try to answer those in the next video. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and like this video for more. Watch this video next. I think you're gonna love it, and I'll see you all in the next one.